Alright, we're going to solve this equation by square roots. What that means. If I want to solve this, some of you could just look at it and go, oh, 3 squared is 9. But also, isn't negative 3 squared is 9? Yeah, there's actually two answers. A positive 3 and a negative 3. Now again, you can look at that. Now the technical process to solve this is the opposite of a square is a square root. Just like the opposite of multiply is divide, the opposite of add is subtract. So to get rid of a square, what you do is you square root both sides. Here's the problem. When you square root, this square drops out, so you end up with x equals the square root of 9. Now the square root of 9 is 3, but didn't we say earlier that it's positive and negative 3? When you put a plus or minus 3 in here, you'll get a 9. So what you have to do, it's kind of a weird little trick, but whenever you square root both sides, you have to put a plus or a minus in front. That means positive or negative. And now we have x equals, and the square root of 9 is 3. So my answer is 3 and negative 3. Plus or minus means positive or negative. So simply you square root both sides. That's where they're using the square roots. Now, on this one, if we want to use the same process, I first want to get that 2 over, because you can't square root until you get that 2 over, or else it won't come out nice and neat. So the first step is divide the 2 over. So I have x squared equals 25. Okay, now, some of you could look at this and tell me it's negative 5 and 5, because you know when you square those you get 25. But let's use the square root, so we're going to square root both sides. Square root that, we end up with x equals, and the square root of 25 is 5, and don't forget plus or minus, because you have to have two answers whenever you square root both sides, so positive or a negative. Number 3, I need it to be so the x squared's on one side and the numbers on the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 49 over, and I now have 4x squared equals 49. Now I kind of flipped it. It's okay. I just wanted the x squared on the left side. So I moved it over. That's gone. And then I kind of flipped the equation so it's easier to see. Again, I got to get rid of that 4 before I square root. So divide the 4 off. So I have x squared equals 49 over 4. And again, how do you get rid of a square? You square root both sides. So x is equal to, don't forget, positive or negative, the square root of, let's separate this, the square root of 49 and the square root of 4. Let's do each one separately. We'll make it a little bit easier to see. And what you'll notice is when you do it separately, the square root of 49 is 7, the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so sometimes when you have it like this, you can do each one separately when there's a division like this. And don't forget, on all these problems, you have plus or minus, positive or negative, two answers.